First of a kind last night, MLB All Star game, 6-0, and the American League ended up coming back to tying it to go to extra innings, or so we thought. Home run derby at the end, actually. Apparently, there was 3 participants per side, 3 swings each. See how many home runs you can get batting practice. Now, this sounds great in theory, but when you break it down, there's World Series home field advantage on the line, and I think it's super interesting. I mean, you had players leaving like Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, Screwball in street clothes. I mean, how much do these players really care? I think this is super interesting. When you say they're leaving, then do they really care? And you should make it about the fan experience. But at the same time, there are implications here. And this is real baseball. I mean, they had the home run derby the night before and all the festivities. And I think that the MLB dropped the ball on this. I understand, though, where they came from. I don't think it's so obvious. And I think they're trying to change things up with the game, right? The strike zone, it changes how people's are. Strike zone based off the size of the player. I think that was super interesting, and the challenges was super interesting as well. Automated officials that you saw in the tennis recently. I don't know. I have very mixed feelings on it as a former umpire, but I think that it's a super interesting thing to consider, these innovations to the sport of baseball. You want to keep things the way they are, but you want to add in the pitch clock to speed things up and bring in a new crowd. I think it's interesting to see how MLB doesn't want to alienate their existing fan base and their core consumer, right? But at the same time, they want to bring in these new consumers and keep these younger consumers, because eventually these old ones are going to leave. And I think it's hard to really find this balance between the two. And I think it's interesting, this little compromise they did last night, but really it wasn't a compromise. They did every new technology could do, and there were real implications in the game. So I think this is super interesting to consider. And I think that going forward, they are going to try to implement some more of these things into real games. I think that the older crowd might leave, and I don't know how much the younger crowd is really going to stick around. I understand where they're coming from, but I don't know if this is good for the present and longevity of the game. If they can get these younger people into the game, though, I mean, I guess it's going to work out for them in the end, right? Because you need the cost of acquisition for these new consumers might be losing some of the older consumers, but baseball's in an interesting spot compared to some of the other sports, right? You see with golf, right, the indoor side, like people like that, but the old people don't like that, but you can kind of coexist. There were real implications here. This was an interesting case study. We were testing it out in real time, and it seemed like the players, some of them did like it. Some of them didn't care one way or another, as you can see by them leaving, but I think it's interesting. Drop your thoughts below on what you think should be happening in innovation in sports in general, how you could mix keeping the old fan base and attracting new fans as well. I think it's a really hard position the MLB and other sports have been put in. Tennis, football, basketball, baseball. I mean, it's all so different, and you want to keep the traditional part of the game. Maybe add on some innovations as you go. Pitch clock I was a big fan of. The strike zone I'm mixed on. This I'm not a fan of. Let's just see how this goes in the future. But yeah, let me know what you think below.